and starts you going and says, "Where is he?
Right.
What's he doing?
Where am I?
Where's am I at?
Right.
What's happening?" And that's what I'm really teaching you, is how to understand, the mentality aspect.
Right.
What do you have to ask when this is happening?
Right.
Blah, 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 right? And I'm going to bring this up because we had this discussion with Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Danny, and Naeem were perplexed when they used to have the "what would you do?"
Right.
The three of us could not answer it.
Because way too many ideas popped in.
Yeah.
And
not enough information was given.
Right. It was like, wait, well, what's happening? Are we, could this happen? Would this...
And without all the information, we said, we can't answer that question.
It's hard.
We can't tell you
difficult.
what you would do.
Right.
Because all you did was the movement. And
Right.
then it was like...
Right. Had it been, you just got punched in the nose and you're about to get attacked again, what do you do?
Yeah.
Then, okay. Oh, I just got hit in the... Okay, so...
And oddly enough, Dennis says, you guys are right.
Yeah.
This is what it was, is to open your mind to start thinking about, have the discussion on what it was.
And that's what we thought about. We're like, we don't know enough
Yeah.
of it to make it something.
Right. So we couldn't answer it the
Right.
way, intelligently enough anyways.
Yeah. Not that we can now, but still.
Yeah. But that's our process, isn't it?
No, but...
me doing this, you're like,
Yeah.
distance,
Right.
range, blah, blah, blah.
Because it's concrete, it's there, it's in front of me. I mean, if you were to present that in words, it'd be like, okay, my left shoulder went back, my right shoulder went forward, my elbow extended, my wrist turned, and I'm 2 inches away from your face.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Then you would know what to do.
What? Then that's
Okay.
something concrete. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, 2 inches. So it doesn't matter what angle it came from. It doesn't matter any of those things. Now you physically have this in front of you.
Right.
This was my description.
Yes.
Now you have to take care of it. You're in a seated position. He's to your left. Yeah. So
now that's information that I can then deal with and say, okay.
that's a scenario.
Yeah. And we do that by showing you all those things in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an angle 1, angle 2, blah, blah, blah. And we do all these things.
Here's your base.
Here's the base. Here's what you need to know about what's going to be coming after.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that, then you have a full arsenal of stuff that you can extrapolate and say, okay, I can do blah, 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 blah.
Right. Same idea. Early on, you used to ask, how many times did it hit you?
Right. And we would always get twice. Right? And they're like, okay, let's do that again.
Yeah. How many times did it hit you?
And most of you probably are saying twice.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So,
Yeah. So.
So how many times did he actually hit? Right? Based on that swing. And if you answered 2, because hold that up again. 1, 2. That's still wrong. Let me explain. If you're really doing this at the range, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, again, based, depending on how you're looking at things,
How you're taught to look at things.
and how you were taught to look at things, then you'd really see so much more. And we always say, don't look at it for what it is, which is 1, 2.
Right.
Look at it for what it could become. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And even that is limited. there's more.
Right. But again, it's not what we teach. It's how we teach it.
It's the how, yeah.
To get up here and give you a better understanding of what's really going on and how you should then start perceiving everything to give you more answers than questions.
And like you just said a little bit earlier, is that the videos are 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
Well, you're teaching the individual to think in 3 dimensions all the time.
Exactly.
So once your brain is ingrained to see everything or as much as you possibly can,
Right.
then it's very difficult when it's just this flat thing and you're just like, all right, do something with that. I can't.
Yeah. Because I don't know what the parameters are. I don't know.
Right,
what's
yeah,
going
you're
on.
giving me, something that's flat, but I'm dealing with cubes and
Yeah,
cylinders, and I can't build anything with
Right.
just flat.
And again, it all relies on how much information you're given in that process.
And whether you're geared to understand that information.
If you're taught to always look for things,
Right. Beyond what's in front of you.
then you're always going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's why we really wanted to do this particular segment,
Right.
to talk about what are we really doing. Is it really
Yeah.
about FMA, or is
It's
it
not
just
about Kali.
right? It's more about the thought process that goes behind any martial arts.
Yes. Not,
You know,
not just.
We're not limited to just the Filipino martial arts. We could talk about this in any system, but the mentality would still be the same.
Yeah.
And how you would get the information, and how much information you're actually getting, and how it really settles here
for the individual.
before it can get to here.
Right.
You know, because to us that's much more important than being able to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Right.
You know,
Because you can be really, really good at one thing, and if you have the right mentality behind that one thing,
yeah, you'll be.
you can do a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You can do a lot.
Now, even with the strikes that you just did,
Mhm.
the 1, 2, right? If you really thought about that, you would understand there's also hooking in there, you know, and there's blocking, and there's, you know, all the things that you do with a very simple idea of just lifting up and down.
Right? One movement. And then that's a key verbiage. Movement.
Right.
It wasn't one strike. Because that's limiting your mentality to seeing it as just this one thing.
As a
This
strike.
one-dimensional, oh, I just hit you with a stick.
Yeah.
Well, what if you don't have a stick?
Right.
What if you have a cell phone, a knife, a pen,
Yeah.
empty hand?
I always frame that by saying we don't teach you to swing a stick.
Mm-mm.
We teach you the motion.
That's it.
Right? And it's the motion that is really gonna really open your eyes to what's really going on.
Yeah, because then it becomes just a base for anything else you want to make.
Right, because in a motion, this stick means I have range.
Mm-hmm.
This glasses means I have a different range, right? And if we pull out the cell phone again, a different range.
But look, the motion,
But the motion of that strike is still going to be the same, right?
no matter what.
Now, even on here, when he holds it further up, now it's a hook. And that's what goes on. So all of these things based on the motion creates all these other things that it could become.
Right.
Again, don't look at it for what it is,
Look at for what it can
for
become.
it can become. So all of a sudden, we're changing the mentality, you know, the mindset. It says, oh, that's not just a stick. Now that's so much more things. You know, because I've always thought of the stick as not the weapon. This
No.
is just a tool.
Right, right. It's a learning tool like you would use a ruler.
Yeah, this is just another, or like I say, Black and Decker. You know, you can change it, interchangeable. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can stick whatever you want in this.
Right.
You know.
I need a screwdriver this time, not a stick.
Yeah. So you know, whatever. But that's how we see it.
Right, right.
And again, this is just changes how you're looking at it through your mind.
Yeah, and then that's our main focus, and then that's where
Yeah.
these conversations were born from this idea of like, hey, what do you understand about this particular topic, about this lesson?
Right.
And these conversations came about, and here we are, whatever many episodes later,
Right.
still talking about the same thing.
Incidentally, what time do you have?
Around 6:49.
Okay, so we started about 6-ish. No,
6:10?
6:10, 6:15.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
We're gonna try to keep our time because we never look at the damn clock, and my phone is on that tripod, so I can't
I
look
thought
at
you'd
that.
have your watch, but I guess you
It's
don't.
charging the battery.
We're really bad, and I think the big reason behind that, and if you consider the way that we train, consider the way we wish that our students were able to use what we teach them in the regular world, it has to be organic.
Right.
It has to just flow out, and that's
And
what
that,
this is.
and you know, and that's a key point that you make, is that
Mm-hmm.
this is not just for what we do in the gym. It's for every day that you're walking around and you look at things and you see stuff and you
You're
realize,
processing information
yeah.
all the time. Your brain is working.
Yeah.
Did you know that your brain, even when you're asleep, works just as much?
oh yeah,
As when you're awake. There's only this little bit in the, I believe, the amygdala that keeps you from acting out whatever your brain is playing out. Your brain only goes down in function while you're going to sleep. Once you're asleep,
It
it
kicks
lights
back
right
up,
back
yeah.
up.
He reads things.
Oh, so
He knows
yeah,
things.
Yeah, this thing has
He
this-
drinks and he knows things.
Why the drinking part?
Game of Thrones reference.
Oh. Did you just call me a little person?
So I know you watch Game of Thrones. I just see the T-shirts with his picture on it, so I know to say that. I don't watch the show.
Oh man!
'Cause I like the shirts. I kill people. I know things, and I drink, and I know things.
Okay.
That's it. That's where that came from. Sorry.
Got it.
Yeah.
From a T-shirt.
But yeah, I think, well, the hope is that now that people understand what we're doing and what we're trying to come across, that they might look back at the old videos,
Get something different from
and
it.
really focus in on what's being said, not just by us,
Right.
but for everybody else. Because as we've come to find out last week in talking with Professor Gomez, he is of the same mindset that things have to evolve, and he's looking at things differently from when he got Kaiju Kempo, from when his earlier times in it to where he's at now, and seeing that the mentality is changing, and I think it's like that with any fight. Look at MMA, right? You no longer have one fighting style that MMA is mixed martial arts, right? In that you have to have more than one under your belt to even compete. For those guys who say, "Oh, I only do karate and I'm going to go," no, you have to learn how to grapple. You have to do the jiu-jitsu. You have to box. It's become that. So if you're not
stand up ground,
if you're not going to change with the times, you're going to get stuck in the old days.
Right. So, what has to happen? And for us, well, we've kind of been doing that from the beginning. Is just this idea of like, okay, what are you taking away from this as an individual, and how can I help you get a better understanding of what it is you want to understand?
Right. There was a thing in the learning lab. Guy was talking about getting the fight to the ground.
Oh yeah.
And they were saying and I chimed in saying yeah, that's all good and all, but when you're going to the ground like that, it's foolish not to ever mention that multiple opponents could be there. Because I again, back to the old videos that you would watch, they would show a demonstration. So it's one-on-one, and they want you to do these techniques. I mean, they talk about it, but they don't really.
Yeah, they're good
and
techniques.
Sometimes they don't even talk about the fact that there's a multiple possibility.
Possibility, yeah.
And that possibility is really big. I mean,
Yeah.
it's never just a possibility. It's an actual fact that there will be multiple.
Most
opponents.
of the videos that you watch of actual street fights, say 85-90% of them, there's always somebody jumping in, somebody doing something. Even though everyone else around them says, no, it's a fair one-on-one, there's always that hot-headed one that doesn't want to fight by themselves, but will throw in a punch here and there just because they can, and that's
that sets off the whole snowball.
Oh yeah, and then somebody else jumps in, and now you have a brawl, and then somebody's getting stomped on the floor, and then it's 3 people to 1 every single fight. So it can snowball really bad, really fast.
And if you don't really take those things into consideration at any time that you're doing something, and you're just learning this technique to be as a one-on-one,
singular focus,
then you're missing the point.
Right.
Because those street fights can get really nasty, especially when their friends start to jump in.
Oh yeah.
And you're by yourself, or you're with your girlfriend or your wife or whoever, and guys are doing whatever they do, and it becomes something. Now, not only do you have to watch out for yourself, but you got to watch out for whoever's with you. And you have 2 girls, and
Oh yeah.
That could be a crazy incident.
Same video, I did appreciate that they mentioned this idea that 99% of fights can be avoided, and I'm a huge believer in that.
Yes,
which is why whenever I step out of my car, I'm scanning to make sure who the hell's close by. I make sure that there's no cars coming before I tell my girls, hey, it's okay for you to come out. I kind of get on them too, be like, look, you just did that. You didn't even notice there's people around you within arm's length. She's like, oh, okay, well, and all right, and I try to instill in them, hey, keep your eyes moving. You don't have to be scared all the time, but you should know who is where and when. Right.
So you know what direction to run if you
need to. If you need to. If I say run to the car, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there. You know exactly where it is.
And again, it's being cognitive.
Right.
Of what is going on and how to really maintain your own surroundings.
It's the how. It goes back to the how. It's not the what. I mean, we could have done any system. Danny could have said, hey, we're going to do karate or jujitsu. We're gonna think about it this way, and it would have been the same result. It still would have been us talking and going further to understand what it is we're talking about.
Yeah, Danny's been on this kick about feeling.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you talk about that because I think it's cool. I mean, and he's right.
Yeah, well, because understanding at one point, especially if we're talking about something physical like fighting, but not just fighting, but also any sport. I think some of the best athletes will always tell you that it becomes a feeling. It becomes that sensation. You let go of the ball, you know that's going to be...
Right. I mean, the way Seth Perry walks away
before it even lands.
Yeah,
he knows that is going in. It's a feeling, it's a sensation.
Right.
And with something as physical as fighting, and as close as you get in a fight, it is no longer visual. It is a tactile thing.
Right.
And you have to be able to feel not just where your opponent's energies are, but also your body. Right. And how do you keep your body as stable as possible so your energy is constantly at the highest level it can be? And I don't mean the energy you are using for whatever you're doing, but that sensation, that euphoria you feel like, oh, that was as strong as it could be, or that pull, or that punch, or that whatever it is you're doing is at its optimum. Your entire body is working together to effectively reach one point, whether that's a punch, a kick, a throw, it doesn't matter. But you feel that sensation, and Danny's been really big lately on how do you develop that? And again, going back to how do you develop that sensation within yourself?
Yeah, and that sensation is that feeling that you know that you're doing something right, because it feels good.
Right.
It feels right. It feels perfect.
Natural high, baby.
And a lot of times, there's not a lot of power.
No, that is
but
needed.
The power comes on its own.
Exactly.
Right? Because I've hit somebody at my most relaxed.
Right.
And you've fallen down.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
My mom did that one time. Yeah. She was just like playing going like this.
Right.
But she had no strength behind it.
Right.
She was just throwing her arm, and she just made my back buckle, and I was like, ah! And she was like, I didn't even hit you that hard. I was like, you'd be surprised.
But, you know, and again... You know, and I love that Danny brought that up just last week, as a matter of fact, about, you know, you must feel, you know. Oh, here we go, another Bruce Lee reference. Into the Dragon. Did you watch? But yeah, you know, that really is a thing, because you do start to feel that energy. I mean, you know, when I used to bowl, I knew when I was going to hit the gutter or when I was going to hit the pins. You know,
as soon as you let go of the ball.
You understood. It's like, my wrist was facing that way. Or, you know, oh, no, that was right. I shook the man's hand. You know, that was all there.
Back when you had hair.
Yeah. I mean, but you understood it. You know, it was always like he says. It's a feeling that you have to get. Oh, okay, good. That's pocket. That's perfect.
And what better way to understand your own feelings than through a conversation?
Yeah. Well, there it is, isn't it? I kind of set him up for that, didn't I? Damn it. Quote of the night. Jerk.
And it sounds cheesy, but I'm completely serious. And I definitely believe that the only way that you're really going to understand yourself is through conversation. You can develop the physical stuff all you want, and it's great, and it's helpful in your health and all that. That's wonderful. But if you don't know when you're being pissed off when you shouldn't be, when you're getting angrier than you should be, well, that's when fights happen.
Yeah, I always have to pull myself back, realize, oh, I'm getting steamy now. I need to let me breathe and relax. Let me stand back a little bit.
How many fights have we avoided just by being conscious of that switch where you're just like, you know what, I'm being a dick right now.
Let me step back.
Let me step back. Let me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me process.
That was me. And if you don't know how to do that, if you don't practice that, you practice all the physical stuff, but did you practice not getting upset? Did you practice?
Hey, pull your clock out so I can keep an eye on it.
Oh. I think we should be getting to our mark.
Yeah. I just realized, what time is it now? That was a good 15 minutes since the last time we talked.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I think the explanation today, as far as what the Kali Konversation is, has been hammered in.
Yeah.
I think our audience understands, and that's what we're hoping to do. You know, we want to let people know that just because you see Kali Conversation, that it's not about Filipino martial arts.
It's definitely not limited.
It's not limited to that. We will talk about martial arts.
Oh yeah.
To the nth degree.
Yeah, because we're kind
but
of fans.
But it isn't about that really. It's the stuff behind it, and the stuff that gets overlooked in the martial world.
Yeah, all too often.
Everybody's always talking about kata this and pinyon
Technique
that, and all of those things, and all cool stuff.
All good stuff.
But there has to be more of a conversation about the other things that are involved. The thought process. I showed Naeem something a while back in the beginning where I was throwing a boxer's punch and just a right cross, and then I just dug under and I dropped it and I hit him somewhere else. But in his mind, that punch hit him in the face, and I know this because he went and his he was blocking his face still.
Opened everything up.
But because of that, it broke that open and I dropped it down. Now that's your brain processing information as it sees it, and as from when he was a little kid,
As he understood.
when somebody would throw something at him, the brain has to complete that process.
It can't stop in the middle.
It won't stop, even though you know it in your heart that he might do something else. Your brain just says, "Do this," and it'll do that.
Yeah.
And that's why until you get to learn to control that,
Right, and understand
and
why
I
that
said, why
happens.
is my body doing this? Why are these knee-jerk reactions happening? And how do I control them?
Whether physical or emotional.
Right. And so that's where we are in our studies, in that we want to have that conversation because we think that's a more interesting conversation to have.
And more applicable skill in the real world.
Right.
Because I've never used a backflip for anything in my everyday life. I mean, I can't do a backflip. I'm not going to say that. Try to let you know. But I'm just saying, by example, never seen somebody doing a backflip in their everyday life unless, they work in a circus.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it is. The old thing that I used to always say, if somebody tells you to jump 10 feet straight up in the air, your brain isn't even going to try. It's like, no, not even possible. But if they say jump 10 feet across,
am I in danger?
No, your first thought is, okay, do I get a running start? I mean, now you're actually thinking, I can actually do
You're
this.
thinking a mechanical sense of, okay, well, especially
it's
if
possible.
I'm scared.
It's possible to do because now it's like, okay, going straight up in the air 10 feet, impossible.
No.
So your brain doesn't even try.
Yeah, you don't process the
Right,
information.
but if it's something that seems plausible, well, if I
Right.
take a long enough running start, and is it down at an angle? Or,
Right. You start looking for the how you could make it possible.
okay, then you say, okay, you sex up, okay, I can do this, and you go and try.
Right.
But 10 feet straight up, you don't even bother.
No.
And again, that's your brain saying, you're an idiot, what are you doing?
Yeah, it completes that
Right.
idea already based on what you understand, what you know,
Right. And how you grew up.
and how you grew up.
It goes back to everything you ever learned.
Right. Everything you are.
You remember that first time you touched fire and you're like,
Ooh.
that hurt, right? Never after that, you never touched it again, right?
Or at least very hesitantly.
I had a cousin of mine, and when she was a baby,
Uh-huh.
and this is funny because I hear the story all the time and I remember it vividly, she bit into a cord, a live cord, it was plugged to the TV or whatever, and there's no wall, and she bit into it, and I remember her lips were like, "Blah," and ever since then, she never did that again.
Yeah, that's scary. Babies have died because of that.
Yeah, but now you understood.
Wow.
Like, all right, so, and this is, again, as you grow up, you learn all these things.
Right,
and now you're at this
Do's
level
and
of your
don'ts,
age,
yeah.
Okay, there's certain things I can do, some things I can't do. But what if we learn how to do them by thinking, all right, let me rethink this. Let me get it in my head that, wait, there was a way to do that. I just did it wrong that time.
Mm-hmm.
How do I work this out? And your brain says, okay, you can do that. You did it wrong last time. Do it this way. And then you start working out the details and, okay, now I can do that.
Your brain is constantly geared to doing the things how you learned them how to do it.
Right.
And you either stray away from that and
That's where you get hurt.
Right. Or you develop it better and become
Right.
more skillful at something.
Right.
And I drive for a living, and I see this every single day in traffic. And anyone who drives on a regular basis has seen this too. You see the guy cutting lanes left and right, not signaling. You see the person going slower than they
Right.
should be, the person going faster than they should be. way too close to each other. But what happens when they see a cop?
Yeah. Oh, everybody pay.
Oh, everyone's driving perfectly. Everyone's following every single rule.
Yeah.
So it's in there. It's in there for you to do the things properly,
Right.
or do them better than you are actually executing them at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But it takes an active mind for you to do that on
Right.
a regular basis.
Yeah. And how do you make that regular? That's the trick, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well,
Yes.
right now we're doing it through conversation.
There you go. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
That's dead. I feel it. I feel you. Well, I think that's enough for today.
Yes,
this
yes,
was
it is.
a short segment, just because we wanted
You know,
to.
it's still like an hour long, right?
I know.
Yeah, sure.
There's no such thing as
By
short.
comparison, it
By
is short.
comparison to all the other ones. In the near future, we are going to have some special guests, so really be on the lookout for those.
Yeah.
We got a few things lined up with other martial artists and other types of people. We also have a boxer coming in, hopefully.
Yeah, we're trying to get a boxer
We're
in
going to
there.
reach out to him, so
Yeah.
that'll be a lot of fun. But again, look for that. And again, don't forget, like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah, that is supposed to say.
But this has been Rick
And Ain.
for Kali Conversation. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. 3, 2, 1. God!